And we're back. Now, Liverpool have obviously got themselves into a bit of a pickle by allowing the contracts of 3 genuine superstars to run down to the final, 8 or 9 months. Now, this is even more alarming because the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk could all conceivably negotiate a pre-contract from January with any club outside of England, meaning that Liverpool could have less than 3 months to secure the signature of these modern-day Anfield greats. So let's have a look at 3 potential destinations for each of these players. Now, I'm going to be looking at first and second choice, and then I'm going to throw in a wild card destination too. So let's start first with the player who I think has the most value and I think is most important to tie down to a contract as soon as possible. His name is Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's just turned 26. For Liverpool, at time of recording, he's played 319 games, scored 19 goals and registered an incredible 83 assists. He's a defender. He's a right back. And this season, he's got 9 games and 2 assists. He hasn't scored yet, but he did get, obviously, that 1 goal disallowed at Old Trafford, probably rightfully anyway. Now, in terms of how he's doing this season, I would say his play has evolved a little bit. He's slightly more reserved than what we've seen in previous seasons, especially last season when he was pretty much playing as a central midfielder whenever Liverpool had the ball. Obviously, we'd turn into a back 3, or Trent would drop deeper, centre-backs would split, and Trent would play in that kind of quarterback playmaker position. Now, we haven't really seen this season. Trent is moving into midfield positions, and he is moving up the right to support Mo. But it's not kind of about a structural change. It's not every time we're in possession the team shape changes. Consequently, as I say, we're a lot more solid. We're conceding less goals. We're conceding less chances. And I think Trent's overall game is a bit more, as I say, solid because he's not getting caught out in these vulnerable positions, which happens as a consequence of just trying to be more creative and moving into midfield. So that's how it's changed a little bit so far this season. Is he happy with this? Is he only happy? Well, it's the only real sign of unhappiness from Trent is when he got substituted at Anfield against Brentford. I think it was the second game this season. And Slot had to kind of take time out and chat to him on the bench. In truth, I think it was a little bit disconcerting to see the vice-captain behave like that. But in fairness to him, since then, he's been more professional. He's looked happier, especially, say, in the United win, for instance. Now, in terms of where Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to be playing football next season, unfortunately, I think he's going to be playing for Real Madrid. I think it's an inevitability, even though, obviously, anything can happen from now until January or till the end of the season. But I think the pull of Real Madrid for Trent at this kind of bit of a crossroads in his career. His contract's coming to an end. He probably feels he's about to enter those peak years of his career. And it probably is there. I think he's got levels he's going to go up through, and I think he's got at least one major developmental jump that he's going to go through. Real Madrid, I think, are appealing to most players. I think for Trent, he's seen what's happened with Jude Bellingham since he's gone there. He's kind of taking his game to another level and obviously taking his reputation as a footballer to another level, which is probably equally as important to a lot of these high ego players. Obviously, he could probably earn a bump. I think he's on about 180,000 a week. Reportedly, at the moment, he's probably going to get a big bump on that if he signs free for Real. Beyond wages, I think the pull is just the challenge of can he play at that kind of club with that kind of pressure at that kind of level? Can he get more trophies and stuff like that? But I think it's more about that personal development and the personal challenge that might be a little bit too much for him to kind of deny at this moment and reject at this moment. Second destination, I think, is Liverpool. Realistically, I think for Trent, it's either stay at Liverpool or go to Real Madrid. I don't think there's any other clubs that are probably really going to come sniffing too much for him because of what it's going to cost, the kind of player he is, how it fits into whatever system of a team, and also how linked he is to Liverpool already. Much in the ways that generally teams weren't really coming in for Steven Gerrard year in, year out, no matter how good he was. Wild card destination, I'm going to go for Barcelona. I think their kind of financial problems are well documented, but obviously the player will be on a free. And then obviously it's the wage issue there. I don't really see that happening, to be honest. I don't think Trent is really hankering for a move to Barcelona. It might only happen if Liverpool don't offer a contract which Trent and his advisors think is the right one. Only then I think would an idea of going to a different club than Real Madrid kind of become appealing in any way, shape or form to Trent. I just don't see it happening really. The complicated thing with Real Madrid is that they might make a move a little bit sooner for him than signing on a free transfer. Now, Danny Carvajal, their right back, got injured. And Real Madrid, to their credit, offered him a new contract. He's 32-year-old. He signed it. But if they were looking at Trent really as a long-term replacement for him anyway, I think there's a realistic chance that they might move in January and offer Liverpool some money in January. At the very least, it might make heads turn a little bit. FSG, quite obviously, they're motivated by the spreadsheets for a large portion of things. And if Real Madrid come in with a 15 to 25 million bid for Trent Alexander-Arnold in January, I think it's going to ask some serious questions for FSG. If they sanction it, I think there will be some even more difficult questions from the fans. But I don't think Trent will be going anywhere in January. I think he'll be a Real Madrid player in the summer, unfortunately. So, Virgil van Dijk, he's 33. He's going to be 34 by the time next season starts. But I don't think that really matters. I know people look at footballers when they get to these kind of numbers that it's like they're a ticking time bomb. The career is over when they're 30, 31, 32, 33. Virgil van Dijk, as I say, he's going to be heading into 34 in the summer. It doesn't look any different than when Liverpool first signed him when he was, 26, 27, whatever it was. It's not like, it doesn't look like he's struggling physically. He had that one big injury of his career. Since then, he's not really picked up many injuries. Plays a lot of football. Doesn't really get rotated in game much, if ever. He's not getting beat for pace because he's so clever that, and the way he is, his players don't try and beat him for pace. So I don't think his age is really that important if he's still playing at this level. And I think this is the best football Virgil's played since before that Jordan Pickford kind of inflicted the injury. In terms of what he's done for Liverpool so far, he's got 279 games, 24 goals, 12 assists. This season, 9 games and 1 goal. He's doing brilliantly. As I say, his form is exceptional. Now, in terms of where he might end up playing football next season, I think he's going to stay at Liverpool. I would love him to get a 2-year contract because of what he's still doing on the pitch. I think Liverpool will probably offer him a 1-year contract extension, which I kind of understand for most players at that age, but I really do think it would be a bit disrespectful. I'd love to see him get a 2-year contract. I think he's got probably more to him after that because he's in such good shape. Doesn't sprint much. His muscles must be in fantastic condition. Doesn't have to sprint. So I'd like to see him still play at Liverpool there. I think he wants to play at Liverpool. I think he knows this is possibly another exciting era for Liverpool, that there's more trophies to be won, and he wants to lift those trophies. He saw Jordan Henderson lift all those trophies a couple of years ago, and he wants to do the same. He wants to win the Premier League again, and he wants to win the European Cup again, and he wants to lift it himself. So I think as long as Liverpool play ball and maybe don't mess around and drop his money too much, or they come up with some kind of arrangement there which suits everybody financially, I think it's a no-brainer that Virgil will sign for Liverpool. Second destination, I think it might be PSG. I can't see him going to Spain. I don't think kind of Real Madrid and stuff like that would be looking at what would essentially be like a stopgap signing at a player at that age. But PSG probably would. I think they're all about player profiles and raising the game and short-term solutions. So I think that could be a possible second destination should Virgil enter the market on a free. Wild card for Virgil van Dijk, I think, could be the Saudi Pro League. I don't think he really wants to go there. I think he'd love to stay at Liverpool because he can play at this level. But maybe a move to PSG in a different league, and what he might see is a drop down anyway. If he can't really play in the Premier League, and I don't think he would go to another Premier League club, he might just decide to cash in and, play for a Saudi Pro League club and earn a few quid before he hangs up his boots, but I think he's going to be a Liverpool player next season. Finally, it's Mo Salah. Now, Mo, he's a little bit younger. He's 32. We always think he's a bit older, I think, but he's 32. He's going to be 33 when the season starts next year. And again, like Virgil van Dijk, he's in fantastic shape. 359 games, 217 goals, 94 assists. And you think, oh, he's getting on a little bit now. He's 32, going for 33. What is he doing this season? Well, maybe people think he hasn't played that well this season, but he's played every game this season for Liverpool. He's played 10 games. He scored 6 goals. He's registered 5 assists. And he's been part of some of those big moments for Liverpool already so far this season. And he's a big reason why Liverpool are top of the league going into this international break. It's business as usual for Salah. Again, his effectiveness isn't really dropping. Maybe sometimes he can be at the periphery of the games in ways that he wasn't in his first season or two. But Liverpool were playing a different kind of football then. It was all built around speed and intensity and getting the ball forward to Salah and using his pace in those moments. And that doesn't really happen anymore. Maybe Salah might be, he's not as quick as he was when he was younger, but he's clever and he's effective and he's a player for the big games, and you need those big game competitors. He's on a lot of money, and I can understand why, maybe the, FSG don't want to match that cash, or certainly don't want to give him any more money. But I think where he's going to be playing next season, I think he will be at Liverpool as well. I think he'll get a 1-year contract extension. I think he wants to stay here at Liverpool because he's looking, he's so obsessed with numbers. He's so obsessed with, records and stuff like that. And he'll be eyeing those next Liverpool players on the list for the goal scoring records. Now, he's in the top 5. He's only one of 5 players to ever get over 200 goals. Next in his sight at number 4, Billy Liddell, 228 goals. He could conceivably and probably, if he continues like this and stays fit, he's probably going to break that number this season, which means if he stays around for another season, it's realistic and, again, probable that he'll move into number 3 in the all-time Liverpool goal-scoring list ahead of Gordon Hodgson at 241 goals. Now, he's not going to reach Roger Hunt at 285, and he's certainly not going to reach Ian Rush at 346. But when he signed for Liverpool, if you would have said, well, Mo's going to be the 3rd highest goal scorer in Liverpool history, I don't think many people would have really believed you, or certainly not when he signed. Maybe after a couple of games, he might have believed you because he was so electric. But if he manages to do that, it will be unbelievable. If there's any doubt about him being a solid Liverpool legend so far, then I think you put that to bed because he's so good, so effective, and his numbers are just, whatever you think of him, his numbers are just bananas. So I think he'll be there for at least one more season at Liverpool, probably one more maximum, I think. Second destination, bit controversial, this one, is that I think there's a possibility that Mo Salah might end up at Chelsea. Bear with me on this one. I think in his head he knows he's good enough to play in the Premier League. All these rumours about him going to the Saudi Pro League, I don't think it has any legs, because I don't think he wants to play there, because he thinks he is way above that. He thinks maybe one day he could finish his career there and get a bumper payday. But right now, and for the considerable foreseeable future, I think Mo Salah's I'm a Premier League player. I should be playing for Liverpool, who are top of the league. I should be challenging for the Premier League title. I should be challenging for the Champions League. That's what he thinks. He's so focused, and he's got such a amazing confidence. He's not going to want to leave Liverpool. I don't think he's going to want to leave the Premier League. He's got history with Chelsea. They've got history with spending money on loads of players. Whenever Mo's scored against Chelsea, he's been somewhat respectful. And I think it's an outside chance, but it is a possibility, because I really don't think he'll want to leave the Premier League. Now, if you want a wild card, Mo Salah's wild card is not the Saudi Pro League. The wild card is Mo Salah moving to the MLS and playing for Inter Miami, even though I've just said Mo Salah doesn't want to drop down a level, and this would be a big drop down from the Premier League. I think the thought of playing in the same team as Luis Suarez and ultimately Lionel Messi could be a massive draw for Mo Salah to play over there for a year at least, 2 years possibly, but over there for a year. I'm not quite sure how it would work with the MLS and the kind of wage cap, but obviously they have designated players over there. I'm sure the MLS would want to make that happen because Mo Salah is a player. He's obviously not his prime years, but he's still so good, and he would bring so much to that league and that team. I think all parties could try and make that happen if Mo Salah becomes a free agent next season or next summer or beforehand, So I think that's the destinations there. So just to recap, Trent, Real Madrid, and I think Van Dijk and Salah will both be at Liverpool for a year at least. I wish they were all three at Liverpool because I think they're all brilliant players, they're all brilliant characters. But ultimately, these players have got to move on, and now we're in the Arne Slot era, so maybe Slot isn't going to be as upset at losing some of these players that we are because we've got such a connection with them. Slot will have his own ideas about the kind of players he wants in each position and across the squad. So he'll know what he needs to do if worst comes to the worst, if these players leave. But if you've got any ideas, agree with me, disagree with me, hate what I've said, hate the idea of Mo Salah playing for Chelsea, could happen, then let us know in those comments and all that. You know what to do. You've done this. You know what the score is. You know how to use YouTube. You know how to use the internet. So that's what I think anyway. So, up the Reds. Here we go.